What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 10 of Incremental Progress, a weekly show dedicated to helping you make an incremental step towards improving your life and your business every single week. My name is Alexander Ford, and I'm the president and executive producer of Measurable Genius. I run an agency here in Calgary, Alberta, dedicated to help you find your story, acquire new leads, and scale up your business. Let's hop right into the topic today. I have just spent the last 6 days attending 2 different conferences with my friend Jay Fizzette, talking about joint ventures. What is a joint venture? Most people automatically assume joint venture means compensated referral partnership, which is definitely a form of joint venture. Another form of joint venture that people often immediately associate the label with is, I'll send an email to my list if you'll send an email to yours. Today, I hope to expand your definition of joint venture partnerships, and the action that I'm intending for you to take as a result of watching today's show and participating in this content is that you are exposed to a new potential that enables you to look at joint ventures in a way that helps you in the short term ramp up your business. Business owners in general have this predisposition to wanting results in the incredible short term. And so my response that we should attempt to build up some equity and some value by producing engaging and compelling content that tells stories and causes an audience to want to consume and digest and engage with your brand is unappealing for those entrepreneurs and business owners who are interested in a shorter term or a quicker fix solution. Oftentimes what I experience is that the business owners wanting the quickest fixes often are delivering the least value. And oftentimes those people who are looking for the quickest fixes are most insecure and lacking the most evidence in the marketplace for what they've been able to achieve in terms of producing specific results for their customers. This topic, I think, is sensitive for entrepreneurs who aren't quote unquote JV ready. For the sake of this presentation, I'm going to operate as if you have a product or service that you truly and authentically believe in, that you can stand by, that you're packaged in a way that you can have other people help you sell it. Because personally, I'm pretty uncomfortable with the concept of convincing other people to enroll other people into buying stuff I haven't figured out if I can do yet. Okay, so let's introduce Jay. Who is this Jay guy? Okay, who is he and what does he have to say? Let's roll a clip.
So there's a story, the Deep South. There's a elderly gentleman goes to visit his friend, who's also an elderly gentleman, and they're sitting out on the deck, and they're sitting in their rocking chairs, having a little visit, drinking a little lemonade in the sun. And there's a hound dog that's lying on the patio. And every once in a while they're visiting, the hound dog goes, "Arr!" And the visitor kind of looks, doesn't think too much about it. But a moment or two later, "Arr!" And he lifts his head and he looks at his owner. Third time, the dog makes this god-awful noise. It sounds like he's dying. And the visitor says, "Well, buddy, what the hell's the matter with your dog?" And his friend says, "Whoa, simple. He's lying on a nail right there. There's a nail that popped right through the floorboard there. He's lying on it." The guy says, "Well, why doesn't he move?" The dog's owner shrugs and says, "Well, I guess it doesn't hurt him enough yet." That is most of you in this spot. You've got the basic needs covered. You get to tell the story of you're an entrepreneur. You get to serve and support your clients, but you haven't actually created what you started your business for, which was freedom.
So how many of you are sitting on a nail right now that isn't painful enough for you to change your behavior and to take a different action this week than what you're used to and comfortable feeling? Most individuals endure a life of what they label reasonable degrees of suffering, as opposed to confronting in the moments the energy or the challenge or the opportunity that's necessary to take a leap forward in their business or to take a leap forward in their life, right? And those are the people that end up having significant resentments and regrets. Looking back, like, why did I never take that leap? The answer is probably because you don't perceive your current reality as painful enough, because when you compare the pain of your current circumstance against the perceived pain of your transformation, you're likely feeling it's not worth it. And that's where it's going to take a degree of consciousness for you to programatize a story, a new story that weights that transformation in your favor. And you have the capacity to do that. And so maybe we'll talk a little bit about that today. One of the things that's been critically important to me as an individual and has become a stated brand promise of Measurable Genius is that we do everything in our power to be and express the characteristic of being our clients' biggest fans. For me, it's like natural. I'm like, Warren, Steven, how do we build our clients into the storytelling? How do we share the prestige? How do we help our clients get exposure? We're doing this stuff anyway. I want to include them. There's valuable content. There's ways that we can support them. And so we're running this introduction for Jay Fizzette, and I've been talking about Jay Fizzette through this live stream broadcast. He has no idea we're doing this broadcast today. When I include his content in this broadcast, that's a JV relationship. I'm giving him exposure. I'm advocating for him. I believe in him. I support the idea of my clients and my services having the opportunity to be in relationship with him. And I'm featuring that content. That is a joint venture. One of the key principles behind a good quality joint venture relationship, and quite frankly, being a good joint venture partner, is this concept called all go first, right? Joint venture is a game of all go first. You don't have to thank me, and you're welcome. Because I love it. I love it. It's fun and, a bit of risk. Because sometimes I feature my clients and they don't like it. I mean, I'm not going to take it down. You can sue me or, I don't know, whatever you want to do. Here's a challenge that I just want to cover. You're trying to grow your business. You're working really hard. You're investing in content marketing. You're trying to do Facebook ads. You've done your SEO. You've done your pay-per-click. You've got your referral partners set up. You try to create a referral program. You got your signage on the street. You put the vinyl wrap on your car. You're doing cold call marketing. You've hired a LinkedIn person to do cold calls or LinkedIn cold outreach. Maybe you've even got a LinkedIn bot going. Maybe you've got a messenger bot on your Facebook page. Maybe you've done an ebook or a landing page. Maybe you've done video opt-ins. Maybe you've done webinar funnels. Maybe you've done all different types of crap to try to grow your business. There's like a million things you can do. And no matter what you do, you're outputting effort, but your results are disproportionate. Business owners are working themselves to death trying to scale up their influence, their prestige, trying to create opportunity in the market, trying to position themselves as experts, trying to make it self-evident that what they do is valuable, trying to enroll an audience or prospects into becoming customers, and your ability to ramp up that effort is linear. Your effort system looks like this, but the growth you want looks like this, and they're irreconcilable. That's the trap that Jay's talking about. It's not just a complacency trap, it's a functionality trap. It's like, let's say you have the brain space to manage 8 or 9 different complex systems, and it's gonna take 15 to get your business to pop. What do you do when your active effort is exceeding the passive restraints on your business? That additional active effort isn't making up for the deficiencies you're perceiving, and you don't have the skills, or you're having scotomas, or you're having blind spots, or you don't have the mentors, or you're not getting asked the questions that would reveal to you the constraints that are most exponentially going to increase your ability to scale in the world. Well, I'm proposing maybe one of those things, one of those blind spots is the possibility for you to work with a joint venture partner or partners in certain activities that will help you achieve the results that you want. And what I'm discovering is, if the conditions are true, the JV partnership relationship is one of those booster packs you can apply to your business, a little bit of rocket fuel. It really is a strategy that you can apply both in the short and the long term. And so for me, it's appealing because I'm surrounded by entrepreneurs asking for a short-term fix. And until recently, I haven't had a short-term fix in my stable that I was sort of willing to deploy because I didn't have a structure or a system or a philosophy of thought around it that showed me that it could be successful. I didn't really believe it could be successful, but I have a system and framework and sort of set of conditions that I understand need to be in place. And if these things are in place, then joint ventures are a perfect solution for business owners in short-term cash crunches. It's a solution for business owners who want to fill events. It's a solution for business owners that want to get access to other people's lists and other people's networks. And it's a framework that you can deploy to create value for your clients by introducing them to individuals who also add value and will help position you as a trusted advisor or strategic advisor in the relationship, and just continue to invest. It'll just continue to pay dividends. The equity on those relationships will pay dividends. So let's talk about how you can go about applying joint ventures and the concept of joint ventures to your business. For a JV partnership really to work, you need to be functional in your life. You have to have a product or a service that you've proven to be deliverable that you've converted and transacted with somebody to purchase before, okay? You have to have a clearly communicated, a clearly priced product or service for you to be JV ready. You have to have proven conversions, all right? You don't want to be approaching anybody as a referral partner or a JV partner if you don't have that shit together, because you're just gonna look like a fool. If you don't have a product or service, this isn't for you to do right now, but you should continue to digest this content so that you can see how joint venture as a strategy should inform your product development, okay? Because why develop products that aren't JVable? If someone else can't help you sell a product, you should maybe totally reconsider that product. Let's clearly define a joint venture. A joint venture is any two-way relationship with an individual who could be a customer, it could be a vendor, it could be a partner, it could be others even in your industry, it can be community associations, it can be social causes. A JV is two or more people working towards a joint goal with an intention explicitly to inject leverage and scale. JV is that opportunity for you to take potentially a relationship to somebody and inject the entire energy of that relationship into your business at a given point in time. It's super concentrated in terms of the results that it produces because it's tied into a specific campaign, a specific objective, a specific marketing criteria. It has to be a win for you, it has to be a win for them, and it has to be a win for the customer or the cause you're mutually serving. And any joint venture that can meet those three criterias is a joint venture worth considering. Now, what you should really do is identify as many of those opportunities as possible and then triage each of those qualified opportunities into a hierarchy of JV priorities. Make sure you're doing the highest priority thing first, start with the end in mind. If you have one JV partner that can significantly outperform all of the others, it should get the majority of your attention because that's the wisest thing for you to do with your life. Let's talk about how you can identify joint venture partners. We have a clip that I'm gonna play and then I'm gonna fill in blanks. Again, this is not my subject matter in terms of what I teach. This is just something I want to share, and I want to share the lessons that I've experienced. So let's go directly to the mentor. We're gonna start with this concept of client journey, and I want you to watch this clip through the perspective that the client I'm talking about is your client, not you as my client. Like, look at this like you're a person out in life running a business, and you have clients, and those clients are on a journey, and we're gonna walk through that journey with Jay right now.
So your client, whether you like it or not, is on a journey. You have great value, you have great contribution, you have great service, you have great products, you have great everything, and your clients need you, love you, and want you. However, most of us are so fundamentally myopic in our view, we're just thinking about us. But I want you to stop thinking about you long enough to start thinking about your client's journey. And I want you to really give some serious consideration to this. Before your client needs you, who are they working with and what are they buying? There is a natural progression of issues. There's a natural progression of processes. There's a natural progression of evolution in somebody's business and life that leads up to you. Now, you might be, and I'm just gonna make this up, a parenting coach. Let's say you're a parenting coach. There are a whole variety of pieces that must happen before you become relevant to me. One of which is, I probably need to have some kids. If you start thinking about what has to happen first, then it becomes easy. So, for example, in this circumstance, if you were a parenting coach, perhaps you might have some sort of a JV partner with a psychologist that does assessments for learning disabilities or for gifted abilities. You might have a JV partnership with private schools. So if somebody's willing to spend the money to actually send their kids to a private school, they might also be interested in actually doing a better job as parents in terms of the consciousness, the awareness, and the heart that they want to instill in their children and in their family. So there's a whole bunch of things that could happen before, that the clearer you are, here's what happens. You cut a deal with them where you are going to incent them time and money and energy to say, hey, the next step in this client's journey is me. Why don't you send them my way and I will reward you? Because it's faster, easier, and better for me to do this with a perfectly qualified and matched client than it is to go out and do Facebook ads or some other silly thing. I'm happy to pay you. And you get to make money doing what is going to happen naturally, which is your client is going to move on. And I know you may not want to believe this or you may not want to acknowledge this, but there's going to come a time where your client says, yeah, I've got what they'd have. It's going to happen, whether you like it or not. So you might as well, instead of doing what many coaches, consultants, people do, which is try to cling on to a client, instead of doing that, shift from that perspective of, I want to be their service provider, to you want to be their trusted advisor that says, when you are done with me, after what you are going to need is. And let's just imagine this was private schools, this was parent coaching. At this stage of the game, that could be anything from educational planning, adventure programs, university preparation, tutors, any of that realm. And by the way, it doesn't matter what you is, I just use parent and coach for fun and entertainment, but there is a before, there is a during, and there's an after. And you reward the people, just to be clear about this, you reward the people for before because they're going to send them your way, and these people pay you because you're doing exactly the same thing. And when you begin to think about your business from this perspective, the honest goodness truth is this, and I want you to hear this, is that you have the capacity to actually make even greater money after they're not your clients than when they were, and to do so working less.
Okay, so here's the exercise. This is the moment of incremental progress that you're gonna take away and you're gonna apply this to your life and your business, and it's gonna make a measurable difference for you moving forward. This exercise can essentially amount to up to or more than 7 figures of revenue for your business each year. If you choose to structure your business relationships in this way, if you specifically set out with an intention to define and refine your list of 10 upstream and 10 downstream JV partnerships, you have the potential to significantly increase your revenue, in part without having to do any of the work at all. This isn't a get rich quick scheme because the mission is, again, all about the customer. You need to remember that ultimately this is all about the journey that your customer is facing, and that there are other people in their life and in the world who need to also have the opportunity to serve them. And there are people already working with your ideal customers who would be able to serve those customers better by being able to make a qualified and a high value introduction to you. All of this is predicated on your product or service being of value, and the product or services that your upstream and downstream partners being of value, because if one person in this hierarchy of value fails to deliver value, it's going to challenge the authority and credibility of all of those relationships, right? So you need to be prudent in your selection of these partners and prudent in the selection that other partners make of you. These are long-term relationships you're going to develop with other business owners and entrepreneurs who are delivering services that are common in value to your common customer. Okay, so I hope that's super, super clear. So this here is your client, and they are on a journey, and they'll be on that journey for all of their own life because they are their own person. And as much as you'd like to project what's important and meaningful to you onto them as if it should be important and meaningful to them in exactly the same way, you know it isn't. And so we need to put ourselves into their world, okay? Here's what you're gonna do. You're going to ask the following question. What service providers, what vendors, what organizations, what causes, what technologies come before me in my client's journey? If they're exploring their problems, if they're exploring their challenges, they're out in the world trying to overcome the difficulties that they face, there's people, contacts, vendors, organizations, and technologies that they've selected, that they have found, and that they've engaged with before they end up finding you. There are also people who come after you in exactly the same way. Other service providers, vendors, organizations, causes, softwares, technologies, etc., that your clients would be prudent to invest in and would actually invest in automatically if they understood their own client journey ahead of time, that you can create value for your customer by introducing them to. Here's the proposal. You create a list in your business. Here's an example of a downstream partner for Measurable Genius. I'm gonna introduce you to a technology called Trello, and it has columns in it I've created a board called 10X Command, which is the thing that we use to essentially stay on track as an executive team. This is where we store our highest priority actions, our highest priority objectives, the quarterly company rocks, the meetings that Alexander's trying to get booked, the other things that are related to the top level management of the business. And on this board, once I learned this lesson, I added the 2 following columns plus a bonus. I have a column for JVs under consideration, and then I have a column for upstream JV partners, and I have a column for downstream JV partners. In my world, Trello will be one of the companies that goes there because I talk about Trello a lot. I introduce people to the software a lot. I could send you a referral link for the software. That makes them a downstream partner. They could be an upstream partner. The question is my customer enough of a segment of their customer base to warrant me going and investing the effort into trying to recruit them into becoming an upstream JV partner? And the answer is probably no. Downstream from me, you might use Trello. You might use other softwares that I recommend. You might use an accounting firm that I introduce you to. You might hire Jay Fazette. Jay Fazette is a downstream partner for us. As an example, you might go to one of John DeMartini's seminars. He's a downstream partner for us. I'm referring people. Upstream are people who refer business to me. A really great upstream partner for Measurable Genius is someone like Jay Fazette. So that's a weird example because Jay is an upstream partner. He fills rooms of business owners who need our products and services. And so therefore, the people in that room are candidates to work with me. So therefore, he could refer them. They'd get value from me in a way that doesn't compete with the services that he sells. I could also find new customers who end up getting a lot of value from us, who should be learning about JVs, and they could end up being referred and introduced to him. So in that case, he's both upstream from me and downstream. The mission is to take these 2 categories of services and begin to itemize, add these people to these lists. I suspect you're gonna end up with a whole lot more than 10 people per column, right? You're gonna end up with a whole lot more than 10 people in your upstream and downstream column, which is why I'm not saying try to find 10. I would rather that you identify potentially dozens or hundreds and continue to identify and collect them as you go along, and simply keep those lists in order of priority so you know how to treat your JV partners upstream and downstream in aggregate, but also you know to focus your highest priority attention and effort on the JV partners that are yielding the greatest return on that investment of effort. You want to keep these lists in order. Great. I've made a list. Alexander, thank you. Hopefully your gears are cranking and you're like already identifying potential JV partners that could refer you business and JV partners who could use your referrals. Now, what do you negotiate? You ultimately need to make sure that you're confident in your ask. You really need to be clear about 2 things in order to play in the JV world. 1, what are you willing to do for your JV partners? Under what conditions are you willing to do it? And what do you perceive those efforts are worth so that you know how to negotiate fairly to get what you want back or in return? So you're gonna have some JV partners who only refer you business in exchange for a referral commission. You might be an ideal vendor for them to send their clients to, but they might not be an ideal vendor for you to send your clients to. And there are gonna be people who are okay with that, and there are people who are not gonna be okay with that, because each person is gonna have a unique sense of their own reciprocity. Reciprocity means what's being given and what's being taken. What does the exchange actually look like? And so what you're gonna find is that there are some JV partners that wanna go 1 for 1, 1 for 1. They really wanna make sure that the effort is exactly equal and what they might call fair. Those people you're gonna find are probably a little more sensitive and a little more challenging than others. However, you might find some JV partners that totally understand the market opportunity, that if they send you business, you will make them money, and that's all they care about. Take care of their customer, don't make them look bad, and pay them their commission. So in order to be effective in your JV relationships, you need to know what it is you want, know what it is you're willing to give, and know what you're willing to give or get from the person you're negotiating with, and be firm and fair with that, because if you don't represent yourself properly in your JV negotiations, then you're gonna find that the actual JV introductions suffer a fate congruent with the energy that you invested into the conversations you did or didn't have all that well. A lot of people are super desperate. They're not productizable. They don't have proven conversions. They're really trying to find a way to survive in life, not actually render a service. or they've failed to package their services properly in a way that's transactable, or they don't meet their ends of the bargain, etc. Like, I get that, and I attenuate to that. I'm concerned about it. I do not want to refer business to someone who is going to, in my perception, fuck over my customer. I'm highly risk adverse as it relates to referral introductions. I have spent 15 years avoiding joint ventures at all costs because I am an IT guy who ends up being accountable when other people f things up. That being said, I've also been risk adverse because consciously or unconsciously, I knew if someone were to send me JV opportunities or referrals, that I wasn't in a position in my life where I could clearly compensate them, or I felt like I couldn't give back, or I felt that I didn't have an audience that I could use to be of equal value, or I didn't feel that I had a negotiation position. So I come from a place of wanting to make sure that I deliver value first and foremost, and I will receive my returns secondarily to that. And so I think that that's why I am ultimately accidentally becoming very successful at joint ventures, because I will give first and I will take a risk as long as I believe in the person I'm joint venturing with, and that's something that I take very, very seriously. I really encourage people to be prudent in their assessment that the people that they're going to JV with and who you're asking to JV are of repute and are of common values and believe in the things that you believe in, so that you have a common ground to fall back on, and you ultimately are following the structure that it should be a win-win-win scenario. Okay, a win for you, a win for them, and then a win for the customer you're transacting with. Because those customers aren't fodder for you. I don't think they should be. And oftentimes, if you make it about yourself, you have forgotten about the person you're meant to be serving. So everyone thinks they have value and they give value. That crappy networking event where if you know someone, I will refer, exactly. So that's why I'm saying lots of people are gonna want what you've got, and your degree of prudency is gonna dictate your success here. If you can't tell if someone is gonna give value to your customers or not, you probably shouldn't JV yet. If you don't qualify, you're taking a risk. So anyways, feel free to take that risk if you like. Let's talk about what the difference can be in your life if a good JV partnership occurs. I'm gonna just use another example. Jay tells a story about how his first company took 15 years to grow to 7 digits in sales, which I can appreciate. It's taken me 15 years to grow $1 million business by sheer force of will alone. I mean, I haven't done marketing for my own business until the last 8 fucking weeks. Before that, it was just grinding and hustling. And so I get that. And I'm totally understanding how it can take only 14 months for his second business. If he leaned on the lists and the influence of the people who believe in him, who had existing customer base, you could go from a linear list growth of whatever it is per day, 1 or 2 people per day, to an astronomical list growth of thousands or tens of thousands of people in a very short period of time. And that list growth and those leads represent significant lifetime customer value, as long as you have the ability to churn through your marketing and your sales process in order to convert them into clients. So his example is specifically that it took 15 years to take one business to 7 figures and 14 months to do it again. And the one key difference, besides his lifetime of experience, was his specific intention in his development of relationships to build a JV into that growth, and that growth was a rocket ship. Okay, and I've seen similar results with the clients in my life that when I look back in their own ways or in their own campaigns, those moments of significant growth happened at a moment where influence or attention was transformed or transferred through the use of a joint venture, affiliate, or referral relationship. That's just how it is, right? Let's say I share an amazing piece of content on Facebook and Ellen decides to share it. That share on social media is a joint venture relationship. That can lead to a viral video, and that viral video is the byproduct of some random social media statistic or a joint venture with a social leader that you weren't expecting. Let's explore another type of joint venture partnership that maybe you haven't considered before. We're about to play a clip from a popular movie, and you're about to see how obvious a joint venture relationship can be when we concentrate it down to whatever it is, 2 minutes. I'm gonna show you 1.5 minutes of content that came from an approximate 90-minute movie, and I'm gonna demonstrate a JV relationship at a macro scale that maybe you haven't considered before. So let's roll that now.
Set it down in the steps.
Where? What does that mean? What's it called?
This is a Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme. This is a special place.
Very special.
It must be.
We gotta go to Krispy Kreme, Jason. What?
Krispy Kreme! Not there. Rita and her golden boy haven't found Krispy Kreme yet.
Okay, kid, you hold him there. Zach, Billy, you circle the Krispy Kreme and make sure it's safe.
Anybody feeling like donuts? So what's obvious to you isn't obvious to everyone else. That's life, you guys. So I don't know if you considered this, but product placement is a form of joint venture partnership. I mean, that's a version of joint venture partnership. Let's explore some more examples. This is a joint venture partnership, Marvel right here. I'm in a joint venture relationship with Marvel because we fill our office with their stuff. Marvel, Pokemon, Starbucks, Apple, ClickFunnels, Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm in joint venture partnerships with all of these people and they don't even know it. Here's the deal. You don't have to stay stuck in the consistent one-on-one search for leads. You don't have to stay stuck in the mid to long-term return on investments that you're wanting from Facebook and from content production strategy. You don't have to wait for your audience to get to know you in order for you to have authority. You don't need to go out into the world and build your authority from scratch. If you deliver a high quality product or service and there are JV partners and people of influence who agree that your product or service is valuable and they see your intention to serve, there's a good possibility they will lend you their influence through the form of their attention, through the form of their email list, through the form of their mentorship, through the form of their investment in you. I don't know if you can see this, but your investor partners, your banking partners, your financing partners are all joint venture partners. My parents are my joint venture partners. My employees are my joint venture partners. Joint venture is a fancy way of saying we've worked together to create a model that enables us to serve a common objective and a common customer at scale by applying leverage positions that are otherwise unavailable to us. It's simply a frame of reference for negotiating with people to help you grow your company in new and amazing and potentially exponential ways, okay? So you don't want to be stuck in that marginal success trap, and you don't want to be stuck living hand to mouth at 7 figures a year. You don't want to be stuck unable to scale your business because you have to operate this machine you've built and you're no longer spending as much time in the market as you need to be in order to scale up attention. And so the solution to this is new money, new leads, new customers, new profit, so that you can invest new investment into your business by hiring, by scaling, and by creating capacity to serve more customers. And the fastest path to doing that is to ask the people who know, like, and trust you to share their influence, share their attention, and to share their audience and their network with you by providing them with a reasonable and a fair return for doing so, or by paying them back in a mutually agreed upon way, okay? So maybe we trade emails to our lists. Maybe your list is 10 times bigger than mine, so I pay you a higher commission rate than you pay me. Maybe I pay you every time you send me new customers, and you pay me every time my customers come to your events and buy stuff. Maybe you have a JV program and I have a JV program, and we just operate through our independently defined JV programs. Maybe we create some off-the-cuff joint venture event that we deliver together and we both make offers. Maybe you go ask your existing customers to become referral partners by joining a referral program, and now your existing customers who would refer you business anyways have just become your JV partners. There's different types of ways to basically enroll people into helping you grow your business, and I believe that people will, as long as you have a proven product or service that they can see creates value for their customers and for the customers that they might refer you to so that you can serve them too. I want to help you explore this idea. I am actively learning how to apply this in my own life and in my business. We're deploying our new JV partnership program soon, and I am looking for JV partners to help us fill our quarterly planning workshops. And there's an opportunity to earn a referral fee on both the front end ticket sales and the back of the room upsells by partnering with us. So if you believe in Measurable Genius and you would love to find out how you can become handsomely rewarded for referring customers to us who will receive high quality service, please send them my way. Reach out to me. Let's negotiate a JV partnership that works for both of us if it's in the interests of all parties involved. if it's a win for you and a win for me and a win for the customer, I'd love to take some action because 2019 is going to be a very exciting year and I'd love for you to be involved. My mission is to help you and your customers find your story, acquire new leads, and scale their business. And I want to do that every single week by helping you take an incremental step towards achieving your goals in your life and your business every single Wednesday at 11:45 on this show, Incremental Progress. My name is Alexander. I'm the president and executive producer at Measurable Genius, an agency in Calgary, Alberta, dedicated to helping you achieve these objectives. And I want to hear from you and help you, so reach out to me. Send me a message, comment on this video, help me reach more people, help me make a difference in the lives of our clients and the clients that we haven't yet met. And I will make you look good by doing so. Okay? So that's all we've got for today. Tune in next week at 11:45 to watch Incremental Progress on whatever our next topic is, because we haven't chosen it yet, and I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm sure it's going to be really, really great. So last but not least, if there is a specific topic in this video that you found particularly meaningful, inspiring, or has some potential to help you transform your life or your business, can you do me the favor of please scrolling to that moment in the video and making a comment there so that we can use that information to produce higher quality content in the future. And with that said, I appreciate you guys' attention, I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate you tuning in. And until next week, I will talk to you guys later.